Apple CEO Tim Cook are expected to launch a new manufacturing program aimed at strengthening Apple's production right here in the United States. Company investing $100 billion in domestic production, which would bring the total U.S. investment to $600 billion. They already had $500 that they announced. New spending expected to bring in or bring more of the supply chain for Apple to the U.S., which might be a part of this. Let's bring Doug Flynn in on it. From Flynn Zito Capital Management. I almost forgot who you are, Doug. That'd be bad. You know? Doug, who's this guy, Kyle. Doug? First time we've had him on. So to me, the first thing I was looking at this morning, and it sounds like big numbers. It is. They are big numbers, but when they 500 billion now another 100 billion. But the first thing I thought of was we had a guy on who wrote the book about Apple. I don't know if you saw it or saw the book about how it was Apple in China and how they've become so reliant on China over the years that when I heard they're kind of investing more in the U.S., I'm thinking, this might be more of an Apple story than a Trump or U.S. story in some ways. They got to figure out ways to diversify out of China. I wonder if that's part of it. What do you think of this?
They've tried to do that. They've tried to go to some other Asian countries and India as well. They definitely want to do that, but Trump has said, I want to put a 25% tariff on any company that makes phones overseas, but it's going to be really difficult to actually make the phones here. The cost would be too much. So this is a way around that to maybe appease him, but also do bring some of it back. And they've never actually built a plant here in the U.S., Apple. So this would be the first for them, and that's a good thing. And it's really part of the AI push, which is also in line with things they want to do. The one thing I will say about Apple, though, they have committed hundreds of billions of dollars before and under Biden and other times and have not actually come through on that. So he's going to have to hold their feet to the fire to actually do it. So hopefully they will this time. I think that could be a net positive for on both sides, for the country as well as for the company. And the stock is responding positively on the news today. So that makes sense.
You wonder how many specifics we'll get, because you're right. Sometimes companies spend money all the time, and it could be here in the U.S. They're a U.S.-based company. So what are they actually spending it on? How are they doing it? How do you see their business changing? Because you're right. You make an iPhone here in the U.S. The analyst estimate is it's going to cost like $3,000 or more, right? So that's not practical. So if you're Apple, what are you moving here? Remember, they used to say on all the phones, designed in Cupertino but made in China or something like that. So are new parts of their business going to be here? Is it just the brains of the business that are going to be here? What's the new Apple look like?
Yes. So what they've said is part of the original $500 billion was to add 20,000 jobs here in the U.S. And part of what they're doing in this plant that they're going to build is that it's supposedly going to be in Texas, and it's going to be building the machines that power their push into AI. As we've talked about, they've been pretty behind in the AI part. And so this is a way to sort of do some catch up, do it here in the U.S., which we want to do for security reasons and whatnot. And so that's the push, is going to be on the AI side. Now, some of that's probably going to make its way into all that they do, their cloud business and the iPhones and everything else they do. So I think that's where it ties in. Even if they can't actually do all the manufacturing of the products here, they can do these other things, the machines that are going to power this, because those they could definitely do here.
Yeah, they were behind on cell phones too, and then they kind of caught up there. It might not be as easy though with AI, with so many companies, and it will be interesting. Way post Steve Jobs to see how Apple kind of pivots into this new world. It's just, you're not owed anything. You're Apple, but it doesn't mean you'll always be number one. So that's interesting. That's the Apple story. Real quick before we get the president on this, and in general, like it was mentioned before. The India tariffs I thought were interesting. What do you make of, as like a financial guy, of how he's playing all of this? Because there's geopolitics, and then there's like straight up financial decisions, economic decisions, and markets. How do you think he's been playing all of this last few weeks?
Well, it's interesting. I think looking at the Swiss here, who are concerned about their tariffs going up to 39%, they're separate from the EU. The reason the EU got the deal they got at 15% was because they committed to buying $750 billion of energy-related stuff from us over the next 3 years. I think the Swiss are going to have to do the same thing and step up. Look. We love their chocolate and their watches and everything, but they can't afford to have us with a 39% tariff. They have an export-based economy. So I think they're going to have to dig a little deeper, come up with some investment into the U.S. It's not going to be $750 billion, but it'll be something, and probably more than they want. But that's what this is. I think the Trump play is, if I can get an extra $100 billion from you and a couple $100 billion from you, those are all pluses that we were not getting, let alone the extra money you're going to get from the tariffs. So from that perspective, you start adding that up. This is a lot. We have to actually get the money, though, and hopefully we will. But I think that's what's benefiting here. I think that's why overall the market's responding well, which not a lot of people expected. Given all that, it's not hurting the companies. It's actually been so far positive. We'll see how it plays out all the way when we actually start getting that.
Okay, Doug, as always, thank you. Again, we're going to have the president live.